Hi, backup video for Tuesday, the 20th of October. 20th? Seems weird. It is the 20th, yeah. 2020. So, what we have covered thus far has been child's play compared to what we're about to talk about. We have discussed the binocular vision that we have, advantages and disadvantages. The opposable thumbs, advantages mostly. The upright stance. The voice box. We discussed the various ways that the early humans did things. Australopithecus, the great southern ape using tools, Homo habilis making them, Homo erectus mastering the use of fire. Homo sapiens neanderthalensis being Ice Age adapted people and engaging in the ceremonial burial of the dead. And us, Homo sapiens sapiens, thinking man, engaging in the creation of art, like the cave paintings at Lascaux, which I'm convinced were magic, as well as mere expression of creativity, that they had a social purpose. But all of these things rest upon another development that has been in the background. Well, no, in the foreground, or should I say, the forehead. Note, since the part of us, the part of our brain that houses us, our personality, our character, our likes and dislikes, all of that is directly above the eyes in the four lobes of your brain. Australopithecus doesn't really have them. They're sort of proto. Homo habilis has the beginnings. Homo erectus more. Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, Neanderthal man, the ultimate caveman, has a larger brain than ours, but with smaller forelobes. And he doesn't have a voice box. We have that tall dome-like cranium. It's not protected by brow ridges. It has the weak temples I told you about. But our growing brain. Now, let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. We, like other animals, can be looked at as biochemical robots, as creatures that are made of flesh and bone, programmed by our DNA to grow in certain fashion, to be certain things, and we have the programming of our instincts. And those instincts tell us what to do. Every animal has that. Yes?
You said about the disadvantages. I knew that one of the best advantages that humans have, they do have good eyesight. However, people with glasses, would that be considered a disadvantage because our eyesight is impaired?
No, because you're a sport. So am I. A sport is like a mutant, but it's not a mutation. It's basically a divergence due to environmental factors. Not every human is a clone. Not every human is born identical. I've been talking all about, for example, the wonders of binocular vision. I don't have it because I'm blind in my left eye. So really, I'm talking about us as a species. There are some people who are athletic, some people who are slow, eyeglasses, all that other stuff. Those are just individual variations. Excellent question. Why is having a big brain dangerous? 20th. Thank you. Yes, Ari.
I think maybe it makes us capable of evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes! Evil! Let me explain. And I think I talked a little bit about this on Friday. Zoe?
I was going to say...
Take your thing before I start talking.
I was going to say, we have it, but we're apparently not smart enough to decide what to do with it.
Well, evil is not a question of intelligence or stupidity.
Yeah, I know.
I'm old enough to have met really stupid, wonderfully good people. and really brilliant, horribly, dangerously evil people. You may have never experienced this. You may actually think that what I'm saying is nonsense. But I have met 3 or 4 people in my life that just by being in their presence and breathing the same air that they were breathing, I knew how dangerous they were. One of them had come out of an institution. The others were walking around, functioning, some kind of successful. And I knew that they were absolutely dangerous and absolutely evil. And if I gave them any opportunity, if I showed any weakness, or if I provoked them beyond a certain point, I would have to contend with them in a real confrontation. And I knew they wouldn't play by the rules because evil. If you've never encountered somebody who has that aura about them, you will. If you live long enough, you will. You will meet somebody that raises the hackles on the back of your neck and that makes you absolutely certain that you don't ever want to lower your guard or turn your back on this person. Because if you do, you're taking a chance. Let's start. Evil is not destructiveness. Animals are programmed to be a little bit destructive. Herbivores have to rip plants apart and chew them with their teeth in order to survive. This can involve the destruction of entire plant habitats. Have you ever seen elephants go at trees? They're not gentle. Or giraffes. Animals also have to prove that they are strong. This is a basic male-female thing. In the animal world, among mammals particularly, but among other creatures to an extent, the dimorphism between the sexes involves the male having more capacity for instant aggression. Why? Because the way that the male demonstrates that he has the genetic material that is worth breeding is by dominating. Lions, you have basically a male and a harem. You have the lion and you have several lionesses. The lionesses hunt, the male protects and guards. If an old male gets defeated, killed, or driven out, the new male will kill any cub that predates him to wipe out the old male's line. The new male might actually drive out any young adult cubs or kill them too if he can, but probably he'll drive them out. And he will insist that all cubs now come from him. And they know that. They understand it. What about rams? Why do you think rams have those curly-Q horns? So that the males can balk one another in contests for females. Seals do this. Birds do this. All sorts of creatures. The possessors of the eggs have a job. And their job is to make sure that they don't waste their eggs on inferior males. So the males have to demonstrate something. They have to perform in some way. Peacocks have that beautiful set of feathers. Large herbivores, bovines, the males charge one another. Among gorillas, the graybacks demand a certain amount of respect, and if they don't get it, they're going to start pounding. So, one of the things that we expect animals to do, if they're males, is to compete with one another and to even attack one another at mating season. Obviously, all predators are meat eaters. So they are going to attack and kill in order to eat. Life feeds off of death. There is no way to avoid that. You cannot, to my knowledge, yet produce a diet that does not require the death of plants or animals to keep your life processes going. All right. So, violence is expected. Have any of you had kittens or cats? I presume most of you have. Many of you.
Yeah, I have a cat and she likes to attack my hands.
Yeah, well, of course. Whenever I'm around a kitten, because I love playing with them, my hands look like they've been in a La Machine, like they've been in a blender, because these little tiny, and kitten claws are really sharp. But have you ever seen a cat hunt? In Maine, we had mice that came into our house this time of year every year. Stupid mice. Because we had 2 cats, and our cats loved hunting mice. And we didn't let them out. We had indoor cats. We still do. So whenever the mice came into the house, it was an opportunity for the cats to do what they were born to do, which is hunt, stalk, kill, and eat. And because they loved us, they gave us the best parts. They would leave them. Famously, our cat Churchill would hunt, and in the middle of the night, he'd jump up on my wife's collarbone and lick her lips, and that would wake her up, and then he'd show her the mouse bits that were left over. So he licked her with his hunt-fresh, bloody mouth, which got her attention. But it was an act of love. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the main reasons why cats do that is because in the wild, big cats, if they have like a set of other cats or other animals they're loyal to, they're gonna hunt for them. They're gonna take care of them. They see humans as dumb, hairless kittens, so they have to take care of us.
In effect,
That's also why
yeah.
they don't allow us to touch their stomachs because they're trying to show us that that is a weak part of
Yeah.
the body.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
My cat lets me grab his tummy, so.
Yeah, it depends on the cat. I will tell you, I've heard that before, and that works with the cat legend I once read, that basically humans were incompetent and the god of the cats stretched them out and made them servants of the cats as punishment for being incompetent.
My cat Pistachio, she has
about right.
my cat. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so my cat Pistachio, she has an extra toe on her front 2 paws.
Yeah.
And
2 claws.
she likes to attack my hand, and I actually have a scar on my hand from Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
But because she's an indoor cat, she goes into the garage sometimes because that's where her litter box is. But I let her in on Saturday night, and when she came in, I don't even know where she got it from, but she came in, she had a bird, and she gave it to me.
That's good eating.
But she wouldn't leave me alone until I picked it up.
Of course. You have to acknowledge the skill. If she's going to bring you food, you have to acknowledge the skill. I have no problem with people talking. Just raise hand first. Yes, and then Zoe.
Okay. Remember how I told you I have like a mutant creature as a dog?
Yes.
Well, she's literally a cat but a dog. And then when we moved to Idaho, if she saw a turkey, she would right after it. If we had mice in our house and she just went instinct mode and then she killed it, there was an elk sitting out there and there's this dog about this big and there's this huge elk. And you just see a herd of elk on the golf course and this little brown thing chase after it. And she got really close to him, but she almost got kicked in the head. But
yeah, you got to be careful with elk. They're going to defend themselves.
Right, but it's like, how are you 5 pounds and you're going against
It doesn't matter. Look, I've seen, you know how dangerous bears are?
Yeah.
Bears don't like dogs. I've seen little dogs chase off bears because bears don't even want to have anything to do with dogs. And I think it's because bears are used to dogs being pack hunters, and instinctively they're programmed that if a dog is coming at you here, there are probably 3 or 4 dogs behind you, so get the heck out. So for whatever reasons, dogs can intimidate bears. Not us. No, not us at all. But dogs, definitely. Remind me of what species your dog is.
She's a Yorkie.
Yeah. I had a German Shepherd who thought she was a cat. She raised at least 1 litter of kittens. She was great. But, you know, that sort of works. German Shepherds and cats are very similar in intelligence. Zoe, and then Kelly.
We used to have a cat, and I think it was around the time, like, when he was still getting old, but not to the point where he stopped doing anything. Like, around that point, he started just bringing in mice and, like, a mouse, like, 2 mice and a bird one time to my grandmother's room. And also, when I was a baby, my mom used to have a dog, and one time it nipped me on the eyebrow, and and I was completely bleeding that entire time.
Headworms will bleed. When we
Yeah.
first moved to Idaho, our cat Deacon decided to run across my face after a shadow. He sliced me within a quarter of an inch of my only good eye. We had words, Deacon and I, and he's never done that.
I don't know why she left.
I'm going to go to these two because I haven't said anything yet. I will get to you.
Sorry,
then.
just on the subject of animals acting.
Wait, just hold on. Okay, I will come back. Yes.
So I'm a cat. His name's Blackberry. He's like a black fluff ball. He's kind of old, but a few years ago, he's like an indoor/outdoor cat. We have a back hill, and there was this black bear on our back hill, and the cat just charged him, and the black bear just went running.
Yeah. Because black bears don't want to get involved with crazy. Crazy is a bad sign among animals.
I live out in like middle of nowhere in 20 acres. We have 2 German shepherds. We used to have about 4, but so there'd be moose, elk, pretty much anything would come in the yard, and the dogs they would just take off after them, and like you could see the moose. I mean, it's huge, doesn't care,
Mm-hmm.
and
Moose are dangerous. Trust me. I lived in Maine. Anywhere I saw a moose, I was on my alert because they're unpredictable. Apex herbivores like hippos and moose are just you don't know what they're going to do exactly.
yeah. So like you'll see the dogs, they got their hackles raised. And they'll charge them, they'll bark, and you can just hear their bark goes echo across the valley and stuff. And then my dad, like, he'll come out and like he'll stay like kind of back, but he'll come out and back him up with a paintball gun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope he has a real gun too, just in
He
case.
does, yeah.
Because no, in the wild you don't want to mess around. You need something just in case the moose doesn't get the hit. But sometimes the moose will stare the dogs down.
Yeah,
I've seen that too.
I've seen him just go like
Yeah.
that, and it's kind of scary, but they know what they're doing.
Nature's an incredible drama, and it's wonderful that you have a front row seat. Thank you for waiting.
My cat actually is weird and acts like a dog. Like I've seen my cat play fetch, and she'll just do random things. But the thing is, he plays fetch in the sense where if he'll like he'll see an animal run, he'll like literally grab it mid run and then bring it to me.
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah. My wife says that I treat everything like a dog because I like dogs more than I like most people. And I trust dogs, so our cats are a bit dog-like too, but not like that. That's extraordinary. Yes?
Yeah, I get that idea of trusting animals more than humans. Personally, I don't really like people that much, but I love my dog. However, I've always been really wary around smaller dogs because when I was younger, like I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, I was at my uncle's house with my big sister, and instead of her sleep, she accidentally smacked the dog in the face while he was sniffing around her, and he bit off her bottom lip. Yeah, like he went at her and he bit off her bottom lip, and it was really bad.
That's amazing.
But
The dog must have been reacting completely instinctively because that goes against training, that goes against everything.
yeah, she went to the hospital. She still has a scar on her lip, but luckily she's not scared of dogs anymore.
Good.
Which is good. Yeah.
That's brave
She's
girl.
definitely gotten better.
Yes.
So I have a pit bull, but she's like super, super small for a pit bull, like very small. But she like jumps after birds, and like every day she like takes in a bird to my mom, like all the time. And it's so funny, and especially because like she gets down into like this attack pose. This is the funniest thing ever.
Does she move her haunches before she charges?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
My cat does that.
So does our cat. Our cats also make the bird noise, which is click, 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 click. All right, and then Zoe's gonna be last, and we're gonna move on.
I have a dog, and like when he was like younger, because we got him when he was like about 1. He used to like when you were like petting him, he used to like put your hand in his mouth and just like not like chew, not like bite it, but he used to just like hold it in his mouth. It was weird, like and just like.
Sounds excitable.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Because I've like apparently there's like a myth that like dogs like whenever they know that there's something like delicate when they're like mouths or like usually if they're like around cats or usually if it's just like fragile, they'll be like really gentle with it because they treat it like they're their puppies. Or
Yes,
whatever.
exactly.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it was an affectionate thing. Maybe it was here, I'll keep an eye on your hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Last word.
My mom's dog, before when she still had the dog and the 2 cats before I was born, sometimes her dog, Andy, would have just like picked up one of the cats in his mouth and just carried them around the house.
Our dog did that with kittens. The point is this. When a cat plays with a mouse, it's not evil. the cat's doing what it's programmed to do. It's programmed to practice hunting every chance it can get. So a cat could kill a mouse in some cases in seconds, but they wait a half hour, 45 minutes, and they sort of bat it around and they're playing with it. Now, the mouse doesn't think it's play. The mouse is dying. But to us, it may seem cruel. To a cat, there's no cruelty at all. The cat is simply doing what they're doing. But large-brained creatures can be quite cruel, and I referenced a few cases of this on Friday. For example, chimpanzees. Dr. Jane Goodall, who I think you were talking about the other day, to her horror in the 1990s, discovered that chimp tribes war with one another. They count coup like Native Americans, they kidnap one another's women, and they'll fight. And it's horrifying. And she had spent decades with these chimps in East Africa, and they just what a horrible thing. So there's ants war, human beings war, and chimpanzees go to war. Those are the only three creatures we know of. I wouldn't put it past bees either. Dolphins have been known, male dolphins, to swim next to and rub up against female divers, human female divers, in ways that are obviously both sexual and whatever. It's weird. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I'm simply telling you. I had an oceanographer for a friend years ago, and she confirmed this. Sometimes the dolphins get a little randy or whatever, and they do these weird things. Please wait. I'll be happy to call on you when I can. I told you about the whales. I guess I can.
With the dolphins, the reasons why they react like that is because male dolphins in particular have a very high sex drive.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as scary as it might seem, dolphins are, like, within the ocean, dolphins are the closest thing to humans there are, and the way they act is also quite disturbing. Like, because they have such a high sex drive, they will literally attack other animals.
Yeah.
For sexual pleasure.
Yeah.
It's really.
Well, look,
really
primates do the same thing. One of the things that you got to understand is if you are ever a babysitter to little kids, be careful before you take them to the zoo's monkey house or their ape house or their primate room. I used to love going to the Bronx Zoo because we lived in the Bronx, and it wasn't that far away from where I grew up. The apes and monkeys are highly sexed, and that shows in all sorts of behavior that you may not want little children to see. But evil comes out with other animals too, and I would call war evil. It may be necessary, but it is a necessary evil. I told you about the gray whales that were fleeing a pod of killer whales, and how the baby whale was basically separated from the mother and then grabbed and tossed between the whales like a volleyball. Or how the seals, when they were on their going into their first ocean swim, had to run a gauntlet of killer whales, and they did the same thing, back and forth for 5 or 10 minutes. Whee! And the little baby seals dying or dead, and they back and forth, and the killer whales are just having a ball. The problem with the big brain is that we break programming, and we get serial killers, we get genocide, we get all sorts of behavior that makes no sense in terms of survival. Because we are so intelligent, we can override our programming. We can override our instincts to a degree. The creepy thing, though, is that we are still prey to our instincts. This is why psychologists have such a rich trade, because it's not simply that we're brains. We're not. We are brains, the brains of humans in the front. We're the brains of animals in the middle and back. And those instincts and drives that affect us really require mastery to overcome. This is why so few people who are Buddhists achieve nirvana or achieve any state of balance, because it takes decades of meditation to try to purge yourself of being a slave to these inner drives, these powerful, powerful drives. Anyway, what I'm going to show you today is the beginning of a film I'll show you some clips from tomorrow as well. Lights, please, and shade.
Mr. Denario, you're going to want to turn off
I'm
the
gonna.
Speaking of serial killers, sociopaths.
Okay, see you later. You can work on other things.